Alright guys, welcome back. So, long time no talk, which is probably the same exact way I started last time. We've gone through some changes with the tripod, which I'll go over first. But the point of today is to make a new phone holder. This is one I had to reprint because I accidentally smashed the other one. But, point of it being is that even though this one's a little bit tight, the biggest problem I found with this phone holder using it with a tripod is that it has no grip. It has no way to stop the phone from sliding back and forth. So we are going to go ahead and fix that. Again, I'll go over a couple other minor changes when we get into Fusion, but let's first start off with what exactly we're doing here, what my plan is. So I think the most reasonable thing to do is to clamp it on the corners. I am going to have to avoid the camera right here. It's black on black, so it's going to be hard to see, but at certain angles, you'll catch it flashing there. So I'll have to avoid the one corner. Maybe make it really narrow profile. We'll see what happens. It's also possible that I just do 3 corners. That's another possibility. One design that I have seen around, and we'll go ahead and hop over here so that you can see actual pictures of it. And it was in the thumbnail as well, so you may already be familiar, but let me get this up and then swap on over. There we go. So these X-Wing designs, this will be a real simple way of doing it. We would have to add some kind of grippy rubber though around these edges, because otherwise it's just going to slide just like everything else, just like the one I've already got. But that's an idea. If I decide that I don't particularly like how well it's turning out, I may default to this and then just add the grip to it. You may ask, why don't we just add the grip to this one? Just add some grip on the inside of these flanges. I could. The only thing is that I don't particularly like this grippy design to begin with. And it's always nice to design something new. So that is our first option. The other option is, like I was saying, to add something to grab the corners. As you can see on this particular one, it avoids the camera like this, but you know, whatever we got to do, we got to do. The other reason why I have this up is that this is a nice little design where it locks in and out really quickly. That doesn't do me much good. I mean, it's possible. We'll consider it. It's just the biggest problem here is that my phone normally goes into another case. I normally have another case and then I take it out for recording because the other case has a full camera protector on it, and that thing is not terribly clear. I've tried cleaning it before and it just plain does not show through. The reason why that has a camera protector, an extra camera protector on it, is actually because it's a waterproof case, so the whole entire thing is sealed. But unfortunately, it does degrade the quality of the photos / videos, so that is why I do not use it when shooting. So I would have to take it, point being, out of the one case and put it into another case, which seems a little bit, unnecessary, a little bit too much fiddling around, but maybe we do it anyway. So we will consider that as an option. Otherwise, we will go ahead and hop back over to Fusion and get to designing. So, to recap, couple changes I made on the monitor mount. I thickened these guys up because I did have these guys break on me. Basically, and actually, you know what? Let's go ahead, and I know it just hopped over here, but let's come back to the camera. And we've got the mount right here. So basically what will happen is I'll be moving the whole entire tripod around. And as you can see, this is one big old lever arm with this one pivot point right here. And this is quite heavy on this end, and that means that we have a whole lot of torque coming down here. Now, since I've swapped this over, it hasn't broke, and the fact of the matter is that it hadn't broke for a long time until it finally did. It's one of these deals where actually this part, the middle back here, broke before this did twice. I did go and print this with 100% infill, at least the bottom half of this, to hopefully avoid that. But fact of the matter is that frankly, this little plastic for this much weight is probably just a bad idea. However, it only becomes a problem when I'm being rough with the tripod, especially when I put the tripod down on its side. What will happen is the tripod will go down on its side, and the tripod top has a pivot to it. And that pivot means that I will have it straight, laying down straight here, and then I'll let go of it, and if that's not tightened down, if the pivot isn't tightened down, if it got loose, then all of a sudden this will swing quickly like that along the pivot, and that momentum is what actually breaks this. So again, it's only in those cases where all of a sudden the tripod gets jerked really quick that this snaps, but maybe in the future we change that anyway, just to make sure, even by accident, it does not break. So that was change number 1, was just thickening that up and printing that with 100% infill. Change number 2 was obviously these guys. These used to be little thumb screws. As it turns out, getting any sort of torque on little thumb screws is difficult, and frankly, the plastic is pointy and sharp. So I decided to throw these to big old thumbs knobs as opposed to knurled thumb screws like we had here. So this is what we had before, and like I said, as you can see, little tiny ridges that are kind of sharp and hurt your fingers. So played with the sizes a little bit to get them exactly how I wanted them, and this is where we ended up. So those are the changes that happened to the tripod, just to get you caught up to speed. And now that we have that done, we'll go ahead and make a new phone mount. And I brought this up. Honestly, I was going to use this to remember what the what the design for the mount is. I think it's just 3mm and 3mm and 5mm. So 5mm diameter, 3mm on the outside, and then 3mm spacing in here between the fins. I'm pretty sure that's all we really need to know, but just in case, I'll double check it when we get to that point, when we get to attaching the mount to the tripod. Tripod back together, and then move on. Tripod is back together and all over on me. Nearly ran over my foot there, trying to get back to my desk. That's okay. Let us get back to Fusionne. So, I guess we will start out with the phone. And it's one of those things I would like this to be... I'd like this to be modular, just so that when I change phone inevitably, it doesn't become that much of a deal. The one problem with doing that is that obviously the springiness of rubber bands, if I use a rubber band to hold it together, may not be enough, is my biggest concern. So I may want to actually like create a plastic case, right, like we're talking about, that gets tightened down. I don't know, it seems a bit rough. Oh, that's the other thing I forgot to mention, and I'm glad I came back to the camera for this. My screen is all the way around. I don't have a bevel. So, for example, if we hook around the corners like this, as you can see, that's covering up icons. And if I open up the camera really quick, you'll see that that will be covering up the back button. I'm a little concerned that, you know, I might accidentally hit it and activate it, but might just be me being paranoid. But I did want to mention that while we were here. Okay, back to Fusion for the third time now. Let us see. Yeah, I think I am going to start out with my exact phone size here, and I'll worry about it later. It's one of those things where if we're going for this locking design like I was kind of playing with, then the locking portion could be separate, and I could just redesign the harness for a new phone. Obnoxiously, this is larger than my calipers actually measure. My phone is larger than my calipers actually measure. Looks to be about 160, but I guess I'm going to have to go onto the internet and check. It's Samsung S20 5G specs. Let's see what it says. Let's find something that looks reasonable and doesn't look like it's going to be loaded up with ads. Wow, really? I don't even see the official Samsung site here. My phone's not that old. Huh. Alright, I guess we're hopping on Amazon. Amazon. Let's see. Visit site, please. Thank you. Let's see. What does it say the size is? So it's giving me 6.2 inches. I'm assuming that's the length, which is the only one I really need. I can measure the width. So, let's see. Calculator. 6.2 times 25.4 is 157. I said it was about 160, so that checks out. We'll call that 157.5 just for ease of use. 157.5 written down on the board. And then what does the caliper say? For the width. Width, we're looking at 75 3/4. 75 3/4. Okay. And that's everything we need to know. Oh, actually thickness. Thickness is, without the camera, because we won't be grabbing onto the camera, like 9.1-ish. Okay, so let's make a quick phone model. And here's our front. Come on. 157.5. 75.34 or 0.75. Centered. These radiuses I'm gonna guess at. I guess. And 9.1. Black. Let's see. What do you want? Do we have glass in here? Do we have black glass? Alright, well, it's gonna be enamel gloss. That and the faces. Go. Good enough. And we get back to radiusing. Corners. This is actually, now that I think of it, a little important just because I'm going to be creating that harness around the corners as previously discussed. Although, I guess we can do corner straps instead. So it may not be that difficult. Yeah, it may not be as important. Let's see here. 5mm. Yeah, that sounds good to me. Alright, cool. I'm not going to bother radiusing anything else. Obviously, the phone is a bit round all the way around, but not very much important. Alright, harness. And again, this is going to be for this phone specifically, whereas the attachment mount is going to be separate. Yeah, I don't think I need to worry about anything else. Turn the phone off. And we are going to do this, I think. Let us... How do I want to do this? Said we're going to do this, and then I started double checking myself. So, let's see. If this is my phone, just staring at it in space, it's going to go into there like that, so the camera isn't the top, either top left or the bottom right. Presumably I put it in top left so that the buttons, the side buttons are all facing up. That makes sense to me. So yeah, we'll do the bottom. This is the LCD facing me. So yeah, the bottom left is correct if this is the front of the phone with the LCD facing me. Okay, so we're avoiding this corner right here for right now. So let's toss these in as simple guides. And I think I'm going to just run straight across to everything. So we will, let's see, make this 4, I think. We'll make that 4. And then we can equal out these guys. We are going to have a hub. Like I said, I wanted to try this out, see how well this works. We'll toss the hub in here. Centered on that. And I think 25 is probably a good idea to start out at. Let's see. Nah, 50. Let's make it 50. I want to give it some meat. So, there is that. And I was saying going straight across before, but now that I have this in here, it actually makes more sense just to go straight to the center. So, yeah, just use rectangles. Can't think of a good reason not to. Technically speaking, we can ignore this one. Yeah, we can mirror and mirror. Probably makes sense just to cut down on the sketches. So I will cut those out. And we'll just focus on one corner at a time. Oh, I accidentally clicked this. Accidentally. That one, that one. Okay. We'll make it 10. And you can just go straight to the center. Finish. Actually, don't finish. Let us do this. That and that. Go linear. You go here. What'd I do? There we go. This is going to be our cutout for the corner. And there. Sketch is fully constrained. Yes. Okay. Back to where we were going. Phone front. We are going from the back side. And we'll make this 5mm just to make it a bit thicker. Anything else I want to do first? I don't think so. Actually, you know what? We probably do. We probably want to create this base first. Okay. And we'll change that to a join then. Okay. And like I was saying, we will just mirror that around. Features, that guy, select. Not that one. Mirror, features. There we go. Bye. Cool, and get the top guy. Maybe should have done this off the other corner. That would have been easier. Yeah, see, that's what I was. We'll see what it does. Oh no, okay, it didn't actually produce the second one. I was concerned that it would take the join into account and then mirror with the join. Obviously did not. All right, that is that, and now I can backtrack here now that I know that that's all going to work and fill these guys out. So from object there, distance to object here, and join, and let's see. So I was thinking, my idea here was that I was just going to flex the plastic to get it in there, which especially works because we don't have this fourth corner right here, rather. So you can imagine me sliding the phone in this way to get it in these two corners, and then flexing this corner back to get it into this one. That was the idea. That was the premise I was going with here. And I was going to go ahead and extrude this whole entire bit right here, like this. Oops, not there though. And call it like 5, let's say. So that was the idea. I'm suddenly not as sure that it's going to flex enough to get in there, which means that we want less of a overlap right here, which would suggest some more sketch. Let's say that we just go for that and call it a day, and we'll see how well it turns out. And we're just going to offset the faces really quick to make sure we are not. I'll skip that one. Clamping too hard with our print. -1. Yeah, let's call it 0.2. It can be a little sloppy. Did I just realized. Oh no, okay, good. Good. I did put this radius in here. I was like, wait a second, did I forget to radius out? Because it looked kind of close. Like this right here. This distance right here is quite close. 45. And what are you? Yeah, that's only 2 millimeters right there. It should be alright. It shouldn't actually be that big of a deal. Alright. Doink, doink, doink. And the last one doesn't need to be adjusted. Alright, there we go. So now we need to attach the actual hub. I'm thinking in the center here, I'm gonna toss some attachment screws is what I'm thinking. So that, again, the harness can just be swapped out without swapping anything else out. Alternatively, if I'm not feeling too paranoid, we could use a slotting method and sliding it together. So if we just use vertical slots, let's say right here, and dovetail these together, dovetail this to the actual mounting bracket, then we put the other mounting bracket into the actual attachment to the tripod, to the thing that will be right here. Then we don't necessarily need to worry about it coming apart as we slide it in and lock it into place. That is the idea. Whereas I'd be a little bit concerned that if I did a rotating lock on this guy to attach it to the back part, which is the other idea, is you could use a rotating lock, I would be a little bit concerned that either putting it on here, because we're going to use a rotating lock here, or taking it off would actually undo this part instead, which wouldn't be the super worst thing in the world. Yeah, the other reason I should, yeah, okay, so I have a reason for why we should not go with either of those methods, and we should go back to the screws like I was talking about here, and that would be because of printing. So one of those things, this wants to be printed on its back like this, so any features I put onto the back side to attach it would just get in the way. So we are just going to use screws. I have decided. We will go ahead and keep them at 3mm screws. And I will just go ahead and do a 25 here as our offset from the center. And I'm thinking we probably only need like 2 screw holes. So let's distance all. And to actually step back a second, come back here. Let's go ahead and get our fasteners in. Wrong thing. Oh dear goodness. Whoops. I just accidentally killed my stream preview. I overshot the button. Mouse accuracy is low. Alright, fasteners. Fasteners. Grab our M3s. Let's see. Socket heads or buttons? I should have M3 buttons in here, don't I? Sort by name. Grab the nut. Let's insert this. Proceed. Okay. M3. Huh, I don't have M3 buttons heads in here, huh? It really should be a button head, so it's a lower profile. Let me double check that real quick. Alright, so get an M3 button head. This is whoops, wrong button. Parameters, head thickness 3mm. The reason why this comes into play is because we need to countersink these in the back of that, in the back of the attachment thing, so it doesn't scrape up against the phone. Yeah, this is down at 1.7-ish, maybe 1.65. So we will go ahead and go with this. And I pulled out M3x16s, so we'll go ahead and make that up really quick. All right. Okay, close, new drawing. Let's see, get our text parameters in here. Bolt size is 3mm. Bolt length is 16mm. I'm gonna go ahead and change these to that, because one thing I've found using all these things I prepped is that when you import multiple of them into Fusion, you don't know where they came from. I'm double checking the head thickness right now, and the interesting thing is I'm actually getting more like 0.2. That still saves us a full millimeter, so it's still worth it. or 2 millimeters rather, not 0.2. So not as much of a savings as I thought it was, but it is worth it. Internal text is, let me grab my, I think it's like 2.5 maybe. Let's start with 2 and see if I was right about 2. Yes, 2 millimeters on the internal hex. Two millimeters. And the depth here is going to be basically impossible to measure because my calipers do not fit. Okay, it's about the size of the ball head on my Allen keys. So that's about 1.8, 1.9. I guess I will just call this X depth is 1.9. And let's see, anything else we need off this? I don't think so. Oh yeah, head width. We actually need that diameter, 5.75. Which I think is actually standard, so I probably didn't need to measure that. M3 bolt head diameter 5.75. Okay. And we create a new base component, base feature. There it is. Oops. Base feature. All right, here we go. Sketch. Head diameter. Bolt size. Heck. Whoops. There. Hex. There we go. There's that, and that should be everything we need to get this done. So, minus bolt length. And thickness. Profile from object minus X depth. There we go. Get this down to a button head. It's, let's see, 8, 9, 5, 8, 6, 7, 8, 5, 3. Trying to get something close. 4, 5. Alright, I guess that is as close as I'm going to get there. And we toss the threads on. And anything I'm missing? I don't think I am. So we toss this, and what was I using? Appearance. We are using stainless satin. Satin. There we go, and that should be everything. Close that, minimize that, finish base feature. I guess I'll just name that M3 button head 3x16. Bodies M3x16 button head. Save M3x16 button head. close that. Read only. Insert. And we are back. Good deal. M3 bolt size. M3 head diameter. Finish. From object, that. M3 head thickness. And we're going to want to offset the bottom there too this time, just to make sure that we have the clearance not to scrape phone. And our printing offset minus 0.2, and we can make that 0.1 on this one. And we'll go ahead and rotate this around. Features, the hole as well. And we only want 2 of them. I think I only want 2 of them. I don't see a need to have more than 2. Turn that off. Turn that off. And we are done with this. Harness sketch. Name. Hub. Harness. Hub attachment. Harness arm. This is the DY mirror. And that is the XY mirror. A little slow. That actually should not be harness arm. Cancel. All right, there we are. And now we can move on to the hub itself. New component hub. And before I do that, back of harness. So we have somewhere to actually roll this. And now we make the hub. Tangent, or concentric rather, and then tangent. Either way. And these are going to be hexes. I don't believe it matters which way we are going right now, so we will do that. And this should actually be the hex width right there. Should go in and rename that. That is that. So now I believe I can just, yeah, we will just extrude this out to start out with, and then we will do the actual locking design after that. Let's see. Probably go. I'm gonna say 10. I think I'm gonna go with 10. Okay. Grab those hexes. Offset by, let's call it 3. And then distance all. Okay. Hub design. I think I forgot to do this one. I did. Harness. There we go. I don't. Yeah, that should be it. Turn that back off. And then we just need to do our print offsets here. Minus 0.1 E. And now we can do tabs, I think. Do we want to do tabs? How do we want to do this? Boo, 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 boo. So it's going to drop in. We want some kind of flange. So it's definitely we want some kind of flange. I'm thinking. Let's come back over here to the whiteboard for a second. All right, so I want it to rotate, right? So here's our hub. Here is a tab, you know, so I want it to rotate in to lock in. What would be nice is if it rotated in and then kind of dropped down. The problem is that I don't want it to be able to wobble this way and that way, in and out, is the biggest problem. And we can put a little nub right here, just a very small nub, to stop it from rotating backwards. You know, sans a good bit of force to get past the nub. So that part is not that big of a deal if we wanted to just do that. And basically what that means is that the mount will go in, you know, let's say like this, and then rotate and snap into position. So that's the easiest way to do it. Again, it'd be nice if it actually rotated and sat down into something so that this tab, you know, assuming that we have a tab on each side, then both tabs would actually be captured. That'd be nice, but I don't see a reasonable way, without getting overly complicated, to keep the hub flat against the back here. So that's my only problem, because if it you know, for one, it can't come in and then get pushed out. That's not going to work. So if the recesses were on this side instead, so that it came back out, so that's an option, but I don't think it will work very well. At any rate, the alternative of it, you know, rotating and then dropping in further, that thing would be liable to, you know, if the phone is facing downwards because I'm taking a shot this way towards the whiteboard, then it would just slide back out, right? That's the problem. So we're probably going to keep in just 2 dimensions, right? Or 1 dimension, really. You know, just the rotation, the single rotation dimension here is probably all we're going to do. And we're probably going to go ahead and just install this nub like I was talking about to stop it from rotating backwards. You know, again, assuming that the camera might, you know, be in interesting positions, we need something to stop it from rotating back out of where it's sitting. And let's see. The only thing left I'm considering is spiraling in. I don't know that there's any benefit to that, so I'm not going to pursue it. The spiraling bit just helps us get tighter to the mount. It gets us, you know, it just pulls the phone tighter into the mount, right? That's all it does. So it's not terribly useful. I mean, it's nice. It's a nice feature, but again, I don't think that it actually does much for us. I don't think it's giving us much benefit. And the biggest problem why you wouldn't want to do this is because then in order for this phone to be straight up and down, which is what in theory you want when you're recording, you have to have that tightened all the way down. So if it doesn't print quite right, and it's very difficult to get it from off cant here to straight up and down, then that's going to be a problem. So I believe I've just talked through everything I am considering with this design, so let's get back to finishing it up. And I should be able to toss those tabs right into here. Do this. We can make them like, let's say 4 millimeters. Sounds okay. And then it's one of those things. I always play with different ways of designing these tabs. So for example, using a square like this, or a rectangle, I should say, but you know, this is an option. Center that up on here. The other option is to do lines, but I think this makes more sense to do this. Okay, I know I'm parallel with this guy, but you should still be able to center on that hole while being parallel. There you go. Okay. Yeah, like I said, so the difference between this and I'll draw it on the other side, doing something like this, is just how it's going to line up on the what you call it, on the female piece. So this is going to be the male piece. On the female piece, how that lines up is the only thing that really changes, and it's honestly not that big of a deal. So I think I'm going to just keep it with square edges like this, and we will be content. That is not tangent, that is tangent. Do that, and we'll go ahead and extrude those out now. That from here, and -4 is good enough. Okay, and that should be fine. Yep, I think that's gonna be, I think I'm happy enough with that. I'm gonna use a circle pattern on this again, just in case I decide we want more tabs, so I can make this tab smaller and use more tabs, but for right now I'm just gonna use 2 big tabs. And we will call that a day. Rename hub tab. And, whoops, what did I just do? I don't know what I just clicked. Oh, it would have been roll. All right. Now for the attachment. New component. Tripod attachment. And let's see. Do I want... No, I still want to use the harness. Yeah, I still want to use the harness as my drawing point. Okay, so we need... Yeah. We want, rather, I should say, that guy. And then we can cut out for the other guy. Maybe I don't need that guy. Maybe I just want that guy. Probably makes sense to me. Boom, boom, boom. Oh no, I do want both. What am I saying? I do want both. Alright. And we will project all the way out to here. To object here. And do we need to go further? I don't really... Well, we can. We can go further. No, we don't need to go further right now. Trying to think how this is going to end up attaching to the GoPro mount and how that's going to end up printing, which is what I'm hesitating on here. I think it's going to just be a flat plate. I don't see any reason why it can't be. I just have to make a decision on... Yeah, so my bigger concern now, I'm realizing, is if I do this. So let's take this body. Where's the hub body? Did I turn it off? Or can I just not see it? I just can't see it. All right. Turn that off. There we go. So I was kind of thinking of just doing this using that profile. There we go. And that axis. Turn that on, and as you can see, and I'm just going to go 45 degrees here. Oh, right. There we go. So cutting something like this, but then I also have to cut that profile out here. So you can see how this tab right here, which is actually what's retaining the hub itself. So the hub, actually, let me go ahead and do this as well. Distance to object here. There we go. All right, there we go. So the hub's going to be in here, right? Makes more sense to hop up here. There we go. Oh, whoopsies. Objects to cut. Don't cut the hub. That'd be silly. There we go. So there's the hub there, but I'm going to have to put a gap in order to get the hub in here, is the point. And the problem then is that I've got this long strip of plastic right here that is going to be rather flimsy, and I have no way of backing that up, I don't think. We can take a quick look. There's that side. Yeah, so on this side, it wouldn't really work. Yeah. So anyway, that's going to be a strip of plastic that's just sitting out in the ether, right? And is loose, so that is likely to break, is my biggest problem. I may be overthinking of it. The fact of the matter is that I did make all this really thick. So, for example, the distance between here and here is something like 5 millimeters, 6 millimeters. 6 millimeters. Yes, 6 millimeters. So that's 6 millimeters of plastic that has to break through, has to be sheared, and we're going to be printing face down, right? Which means that if it's going to shear across this axis right here, if it's going to shear right here, well, technically speaking right here, if it's going to shear right here, then that's going to be shearing across layer lines, which is not likely to happen. The only other problem is it flexing. That would be the only other issue we could run into. And that flexing, basically what that would do is that would, when I'm trying to set up the phone and get the perfect shot, that flexing could mess with the shot. I'm just trying to decide how much flexing is actually going on there. The third option here that I didn't really consider is we could have been using clamps. I could be using clamps to attach this, which isn't that bad of an idea. Have it be a snap-in even. We could even do snap-in. I don't think that that's as bad of an idea. It's a question. It's questionable. I have been known to have very bad ideas that I did not think were bad ideas at the time, so I'm a little bit hesitant here. I'm just going to add some color really quick to help differentiate. Ugh. And do regular plastics. Where's my matte blue? Matte blue. There it is. Oops, cancel. This guy right here, please. All right, you know what? There we go. So, is this the right way to go about this? It may not be. All right, so between clamps and snap-in, the snap-in may only have a problem insofar as when it gets loose, then the phone is rattling around a bit. Or the phone harness, I should say, with the hub, that attachment into the snap-in would be rattling around a little bit. That's a negative. The negative on the clamps would be that... Oh, I actually just had an idea. I had an idea that may be better. Okay, anyway, let's just finish the thought there. The problem with the clamps is just that I then would want to add hardware, so I'd want to use hardware bolts. I would want to use bolts to attach the clamps. And that is a bit annoying. It's extra space, it's extra bolt, as opposed to just a plastic solution here. But the final idea I just had is I could make a threading on the back here and put a big plastic nut on the back. And then tighten that down. I don't hate that idea. The fact of the matter is that right now, there should be nothing getting in the way of the phone getting in and out of the harness, even if it stays attached like this. Which actually, you know what? Now that I'm saying that out loud, I may be an idiot and I may be over engineering this. Yeah, I am. Okay. So if we assume that the harness can get in and out, the phone can get in and out of the harness just fine by itself here, then in that case, we can just make this hub the attachment, the GoPro attachment itself. And the phone will just slide and pop in and out of here. Yeah, all right. You know what? I am fine with that idea. So we will delete that, delete that, delete that. And we can make this a bit thinner. 6, let's make it thick, 6. Just so it has some strength to it. And come back here. Am I in the hub right now? No. Yes. There we go. We'll come back here and make this, delete that, make this just the mount. So yeah, I think it's just going to be that. I don't see anything that I can really go relative to. And tangent, there we go. And I just need to clear these a little. Do I even need to clear these a little bit? I don't think I do, actually. Come to think of it. I'm looking at the what you call it right now. Yeah, there's not going to be anything in front of the tripod. So the phone actually can hang out below the tripod a little bit if I want to. Although when I tilt it down, then it's going to run into that. So I probably want to stay a little bit above that. Yeah, you know what? So long as, let's see. We're going to, this is going to be, let me double check. 5mm, right? 5mm, yep, 5mm. And then, clear that. That to that is 4.015. Why is that 4.015? That doesn't make any sense. Huh, okay. I'm gonna assume that's supposed to be just 4. I'm not 100% on why. There's my design for it. Let's see. Oh, because I'm going off the hex, I guess. I guess because that's going off this hex right here. The 5mm hex. Which we don't need to worry about. Two, 4. Yeah, I'm just going to call it 4 for the other side. The other side doesn't have to accompany the hex, so we can just call it 4. So, that should be 5. And then 4. Alright, there we go. And I will just drop a line. Where's my sidebar? My sidebar disappeared. A bit weird. Is it because it's open over here? There we go. So, tangent. Do that. And then we'll make this tangent right here. And I will claim to be happy with that. So that is the, we're gonna obviously put, maybe not obviously. Yeah, actually, I guess this should be below that then. Do I want to run this? Nah. Yeah, no. Yeah, no. How do I want to draw this? There's a couple different ways to draw this. I think I'm alright like this. We'll proceed this way. This 4mm actually is unnecessary, isn't it? So let's bring that in. Finish. Alright, and now we come back here. Grab this now. Yes, that's right. It is gonna need to be thicker in theory. It doesn't need to be all thicker. We can print this, and it would be better print this on this face. So any features we put on the back side is fine. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna keep this at 6mm here instead of thickening it up. And then we'll come back in here and continue with my plan. So project this out as a base. Turn it off, turn that guy off. And then we will go ahead and draw in our circles. So our 4mm here, our 5mm here. There we go. And we can have that tangent to that. And tangent to the bottom. And I guess I will make those solid so we can cut them out. Otherwise, we can pick a point in here I mean, halfway doesn't sound bad to me, it just as an arbitrary point, and draw that in there, and do that, and we are good to go. So, from the center, actually, let me make sure that I got this placement right. So from the center, we want to offset by, what is this, 3? Yes, so offset by 1.5 on either side, and then mirror it. Okay. So let us extrude that out from center, offset by 1.5, 1.5, and then we had our 3 millimeters, like we're talking about. Join. You know what? Maybe I should have done the cut first. Doing the cut first seems to make sense. And... Huh. I did not think this one through, did I? Did not think it through enough. Alright, let's symmetrical. I am going to claim to be okay with this, even though I'm not. Yeah, you know what? I should have. So this is what I mumbled to myself earlier. This really should have been the top side, is where this should have been. Would have made more sense. Tangent. And then I can just add an offset. Ooh, what are you doing? You're supposed to be connected there. Let's see. So again, this comes back to my question of how far I wanted to make this. I just looked at that before and said, that looks fine to me. But let's go ahead and put this in line with that. That's my decision. All right. So instead, this is going to go below. Tangent. And then I can go ahead and just snag from here to tangent. And yeah, again, arbitrary distance right here. I guess the other thing we could do is just pick an angle. 45, 30, 30. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so this is no longer cutting right here, and this is just our connector. Include that. Join. Body mirror. Mirror. That guy. Across our center line. Okay. And I guess I can, because this isn't really doing anything, right? So there's a couple things, right? Right. If we come up here and look at this, I think that kind of looks about right. The biggest problem is that I'm using this connector right here, which is maybe not the best connector to be using, just given the size difference. Our alternative is to cut out the last 2 nubs. I can't do that on this side though. And I was just thinking of coming down here, but also that doesn't make sense. So it just, right, this isn't really doing anything, this whole entire bottom section. So I think I'm just going to give up and remove it. I was trying to decide whether to do that in Sketch or just use the fillet tool. As you can see, we just went with the fillet tool. It looks a little bit funny. I'm a little concerned about this snapping right here, down here, because we don't really have that much meat down here. But it's hopefully not going to be that big of a problem. I believe I have offsets in here already. So, let's see. Offsets? Offsets. Do I not have offsets? It is looking like I do not have offsets. Let's see, where is... Find in browser. Browser. Base. And... So that's not that one. Any other offsets? I'm not seeing any other offsets. So is this just straight up 3mm? It is. Okay. So we do need to add some offsets in here, then, in that case. And I do want it to be a little snug. So I guess we'll just leave it at the 0.1. I guess that's fine. It feels a little weak to me, but we are going to use this design and see what happens. Hub, GoPro mount design. I can spell. Okay, so that is what we ended up with. A lot of it looks a bit weak to me, to be completely honest. But we'll see what happens. Again, stuff here, with the exception of the GoPro mount thing, is a lot thicker than it seems. A lot thicker than I normally print stuff even. You know, I've got 6mm here. This is however much, you know. It is printed a lot thicker than I normally go. So, it's probably not that big of a deal. Let's see. Anything else we need to consider? I don't think so. The camera's going to be right here. We're going to be facing that way, so everything's clear. The buttons are right here, so nothing's interfering with the buttons. So, yeah. I think that is everything. What happened to my LCD screen? Whoops. Cancel. Basic. Huh. Interesting. Not showing. Alright. Regardless. That is our simple design we'll be trying out at any rate. If we need to do this again, we will. Again, we had these other options for... Let's see. So this is more or less what we ended up with. Just I decided there was no real sense in having this locking mechanism. And the reason I didn't think there was a sense in having the locking mechanism is because we can just pop the phone in and out of this carry case. Especially because I'm going to be putting it back into another case that I prefer to use. But this is the option we didn't end up going with. Especially because one reason is you see how this is pressing on that button right there? Which is not great. It's not great to have that in the picture. But that is a problem I ended up with this guy. Is I accidentally SOS'd 911 a couple times. Alright, so I actually only accidentally did it once, okay? I came close to, because it gives you a 10-second countdown, numerous times. Because this would slide, and it would pinch that button right there. And my phone had a setting where if you push that 5 times, it would SOS 911. Yeah, I know you didn't. So you kind of want to really avoid these buttons just in case something like that happens. I turned that setting off on my phone because I realized that, I didn't really think that well, listen, knock on wood, I hopefully will never actually need that setting. But regardless, point being is that it was a hazard as it was with the way I was using it with this connector. So I decided to remove the hazard and remove accidentally butt dialing 911 when I'm trying to record. So there's that story. Otherwise, we are done with this. So I will go ahead and get this printed up, this new design, and I will let you know how it works out. Whoops. Revert. Yeah, here's hoping, right? Here's hoping. Otherwise, so I do want to get back into streaming. In theory, I have one massive video and then another of other videos that I have recorded over the past few months that need to be edited. I wanted to do the massive video first. However, as you can imagine, that is not exactly fun to do, doing one massive video. So hopefully that comes out at some point. I'm trying to work on it. The biggest problem with it is that I've got like 100 hours of recording for the massive video, and I made the mistake of just loading that all into the timeline with the expectation that I'd be able to, fast forward huge sections of it, run at 2 times speed in order to get through it and voice over it. And my computer is having a serious problem processing that much at once. So I tried editing it the most recently, and it just froze up and would not come back. And I ended up just, force closing the program. So one of these things, it's going to be a lot harder to edit than I was anticipating, and it's already a long video. Again, I've got something like 100 hours of recorded footage. So that's a problem. The other videos, I'm probably going to put out a few shorts for some minor projects that I've done since the last time I was streaming. So you can probably look forward to those guys at the very least, these shorts. And otherwise, when it comes to gaming on this channel, I do have more games downloaded that I wanted to play. I just have not been in much of a gaming mood recently. And I also wanted to finish up Chroma Squad. I tried playing Chroma Squad one more time after the last recording, and it crashed on me again, which is the major problem here. Again, Chroma Squad, we're on the final battle as far as I can tell, and it just keeps on crashing mid-battle. It's a 4-part battle. It crashes somewhere in the middle, depending. And that actually makes it absolutely miserable to have to replay through each time. And what I was going to do is, we had 2 streams of the final battle so far. I was going to supercut those 2 streams and then include locally recorded footage of the final part, the part 4 of the boss battle, the final boss battle. That was the plan, in case you forgot. And obviously, I still haven't been able to do that because it crashed on me again, and I haven't gotten back to it. However, like I said, I do have a couple more games downloaded that I would like to play. It's just a matter of getting the motivation to start a new game, especially because, again, I would prefer to finish Chroma Squad and actually have that polished off. I have been playing Backpack Battles just because it's a super quick and simple game. It's about 15-minute rounds. I might decide later on tonight to stream maybe an hour of that, so like 4 rounds of Backpack Battles, just for the fun of it. It is in beta, but it is reasonably enjoyable nonsense. It's one of those things. It's a roguelite, so it doesn't have super depth or anything like that, and it's just kind of, okay, whatever the game gives you, you try to go with. Or at least you try to navigate towards the build you want to go with at any rate. So we may consider playing that later on tonight. Might do a stream of that, but that will probably be the only playthrough of that I'll do. Only stream of that I'll do, just because, again, there's not much to it. It is in beta. Otherwise, chess, I used to stream chess. I got up to 1200 twice, and this is the second time I've dropped back down below 1000 since that's happened. It's just one of these things. I get motivated. I go, okay, I'm going to be serious. I'm going to take this game seriously. And I get up to 1200, and then it just gets so boring. And I'm just like, oh, whatever. Play Blitz in Rapid, you know? And I don't know. I just lose focus seriously. So I don't know that I'll be playing any more chess on the channel. Just because, again, my motivation to play it has just totally been destroyed. So yeah, that's the update on the channel. Thank you guys for watching. And oh, that's right. Actually, one more thing. I also wanted to do, so my Carrera is finally set up and running. Okay. I wanted to do accessories for the Carrera. So I may do that tomorrow. I may do a stream for accessories for the Carrera tomorrow. Yeah. And that is everything. There you go. So that's the plan for this weekend. If I don't get to any of that stuff this weekend because other things come up, then that will happen next weekend. You can expect that just to be the next couple of streams whenever those pop up. During the week, I don't know that I will be streaming just because I really do need to get these videos done that I have queued up. You know, and as I said, like I said, I had 100 hours on the one video. I have something like 7 or 8 other videos besides that one recorded. I just need to edit and do voiceover on them. So again, there's a lot of work that has to get done besides streaming for the channel. So I do want to spend most of the week at least. Maybe I stream once in the middle of the week, but I want to spend most of my time during the week getting those videos done and getting my queue of videos cleared out. So yep, that's the state of the channel. Thank you guys for watching, and our 20-minute outro of rambling is now officially over. Have a great, wonderful day, afternoon, or evening, wherever you're at in the world, and I will catch you next time.